Hi everybody, we are here for Tuesday Talks. Now everybody knows that Tuesday Talks is all about getting to know an individual from an industry and finding out what makes them tick, what do they care about, how their career reflects that, and what motivates them to keep going. Now today we have a person called Mandy. Mandy has completely reinvented herself. Moved to Costa Rica, and is a successful entrepreneur as well. Mandy is now inspiring, helping others to heal, grow, and live healthy and happy lives. So let's get Mandy on board here and listen to her story. Hi, Mandy. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much for taking the time out for joining us on Tuesday Talks.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I've done a short introduction for you already, but you're the best person to expand on it and do it more justice. So let us know who you are, what you do, and the biggest question that will start this conversation would be, why do you do it, Mandy?
Why do I do it? I do it because I really want to send the message out to anyone who needs to hear that like we are super powerful beings and we can do and create whatever life we desire. It has to start with the belief in ourselves, and I also believe that hearing other stories and seeing other people's transformations gives other people that hope and that inspiration, that belief that, if they can do it, so can I, right?
Yeah.
Listening to motivational speakers helped me change my life, right? Hearing their stories of where they came from and where they are now. It's anything is possible. And I just want people to believe that. And that's why I share my story.
I love that. So where does this journey start from then? What's keeping you going um, for this?
What's keeping me going? It's the way I feel about my life now, the way I feel about how I'm living. Like everything about me is different than it used to be, right? I have completely transformed every aspect when it comes to how I work, my relationships, whether they're romantic or just with friends. Um, I have gone through many like healing modalities and worked through like deep traumas. And also I have reconditioned the way my mind works. So everything from what I used to have, like anxieties or paranoias or the addiction itself, right? I don't even recognize who I used to be, which, is also pretty intense for me because for most of my life, I was using some sort of drug. 16 years, cocaine, right? And it's now about 3.5 years where I'm clean from that. But this feels more aligned and more like who I was prior to the,
Mhm.
pile on of drugs and alcohol and everything, right? But yeah, it's really intense to me that it's only been 3.5 years that I've lived this way and everything that I've accomplished and how I've healed versus the 16 plus years that I was that other version. This one, like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Like,
So it suddenly sounds like as well that you've accomplished a lot more in this 3.5 years. That suddenly feels a lot more, right?
yeah, so like I did do, I was a functioning addict. So on the outside, I was like completing things, like I opened some businesses, I was doing volunteering. But while I was building out this outside world around me, I was destroying my inside world. So no matter what I would do to accomplish something, it never felt as good as it does now that I've healed and on a continuous basis work on myself. And so then my outside accomplishments feel different, right? Because I'm not battling with something within any like I was, you know?
Mhm. I love that share
Yeah.
actually, and is obviously, and thank you very much for sharing this as well, to share your vulnerability, because a lot of people out there wouldn't share these kind of stories in terms of what they've gone through and what they've been through as well. But it's amazing that you're obviously sharing this, and all the purpose of inspiring others who are, you know, challenged into what they might be feeling, that they are stuck, or they feel like they cannot change or go into take that step to move forward. I'm not too sure what's happening. I think we are losing you, and then you're back, but you're lost. You're back. You're back.
It just keeps it just keeps spinning. Sorry. Okay,
Oh,
you're back now. You were gone.
you're
It
back.
was very slow motion for a minute there. Yeah, I'm actually in Nicaragua right now, and I'm just at a resort, and so the Wi-Fi here is really good, but still, dealing with not the
Probably
Wi-Fi we're used to in Western.
not. No, the Wi-Fi is not used to having the Instagram live, so it probably is just heavy for it. But no, it's working now, so that's great. But so as I was mentioning, that thank you for sharing that vulnerability with us. Thank you for sharing this vulnerability with us, and inspire everybody around us. So if you may just take us through that. What was that journey like for you? The ups and downs, and you mentioned about changing your mindset as well. What was that pivotal moment when you decided, okay, this now I need to change?
Sorry,
You
I only heard
lost you
the
again.
question.
Oh,
You asked me what? Sorry, I only.
I think I lost you again here. I lost you here again.
I
We-
I don't know.
It
I've done
seems.
video calls out here already, so I'm not sure why it's having so much trouble. I'm at full bars. I've done these calls out here already. I don't know. It's one of those days where the internet's glitching, I guess.
uh, Well, yeah, that's no worry. That's no worry. We'll see. We'll see how we can, how long we can work with it. That's no worry. No, so the question I was asking was, to take us through that little journey of yours, in terms of when was that pivotal moment for you where you said, okay, I need to change now. Um, when was that pivotal moment for you, and what did you do to change?
Yeah, when I decided I was kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Um, I would sometimes be up for days, or I just didn't like the way I felt anymore. It stopped being fun, and I did try to stop before I actually could stop, and that's when I realized, like, oh my God, like I'm actually really addicted, right? So but I just didn't like the way my brain felt. I didn't like, the relationships I had in my life. I didn't like that the men I was attracting as partners. I knew that there was so much more I wanted for myself and to be able to do for the universe. And if I continued down this path, I would not be that person. And so it was just like really enough was enough of this whole life, this whole party life, this whole messing with my mind. And so, yeah, I just was like, I'm done. And it did take me a few tries to actually say bye, but there were steps along the way that helped me hold on to it. I discovered this group on Facebook because I was looking for community, something different, and the community was all about inspiring others. And one of our tasks was to create motivational memes and just post them in the group, and just you create them and then help lift up somebody else. And I actually discovered a talent during this time that I could find the beauty in the world, and then I used what I learned from teachers of the mind and spirit, and created motivational sayings that match. And that really, pushed me forward, because I get people saying, oh, I really need to see that today. Oh, thank you so much for this motivation. I was like, okay, me healing myself and sharing what I'm learning with people is is helping them and lifting them. And that really was one of the first big things that helped me stay on this track.
I actually love that to create positive memes is actually great because you come across memes which make you laugh or and it's always played on somebody doing something bad or as a joke, and then you pick up on that. But a positive meme, that's actually good. So you're obviously picking up on something positive and then posting it as in, okay, here it is. So when you had that pivotal moment and you were going through, I'm sure, like everybody, you had your ups and downs. And you also mentioned something to do with your mindset as well. So you changed you had to work on your mindset as well. What was that journey like when you were going through this?
Yeah, so when the first year was probably the most challenging in the sense of like what I was going through physically and mentally because my mind was, rebuilding itself, right? And it was painful, but it was painful because it was literally like when you do like drugs, you put like holes in your brain. So it was rebuilding itself.
Mm.
And then also, my body stopped producing like serotonin like naturally because I was giving it to myself through this substance. So then my body and brain had to learn how to reproduce this chemical that you just naturally have. But once you start feeding to yourself, it stops because it's like, oh, well, I don't need to do that anymore. You're doing it for me. So there was some like it, at points my mind, like my brain actually felt like it was on fire, like it hurt, but I knew it was healing. Like I did do a lot of research around like how, like what I was going to go through, how long was the
Mm.
process, and it will be different for everyone depending on like, their usage or anything. But I actually discovered Dr. Joe Dispenza during this time as well, and I learned about reconditioning the mind. So I was able to learn more about how my mind worked and what I needed to do to be able to change the wiring within that, like, had me addicted to this, were leading me down these paths I didn't want anymore and stuff, and literally changing thought patterns within my mind to push me towards the life that I wanted.
Well, that's quite interesting. Obviously, when you were trying to change yourself and rebuild. So your mind's rebuilding and your body's rebuilding itself as well. So all those changes are coming through. And as you said, obviously it will be different for everybody else. And when you were mentioning that, in my mind, it was more of like, when you decide to uh, redo your house, right? And you take everything off, the wallpapers or paint or whatever that is, and your house just looks like a mess, right? And it just depends on the person now, how much mess they can handle, or get somebody else to come in and redo the whole house, right? So that's the feeling I was getting, is like, okay, now you're redoing the whole bedroom, so and everything in the house is getting redone. And once it's redone, then this is going to be a nice place to live in, and you create it the way you want it, and that's the journey that you're on, and you'll come out on the other side. And you moved to Costa Rica as well. Is it also to do with your journey that led you to be in that over there, or it was like a complete shift? Because I am a firm believer of, if you want to change everything about you and everything if you can, you should relocate to a total different place where you're starting afresh, and then your mind also picks up on, oh, everything is new, so I better learn and do stuff as new as well, because the surrounding is not familiar anymore, so everything is
Hmm.
fresh. it's, I don't know
Yeah.
what are your points behind it.
Well, yeah. So actually, Costa Rica was a big part of my like healing journey as well because I spent a lot of time there in the last like few years, and so was able to get away for a few months here and there and completely change my environment and meet new people, do new things, and I fell in love with like just everything about like the weather, the culture, like just
I'm not sure. I think we are having a bad internet. Oh no, it looks like we've lost. We've apologies, guys. It looks like we've lost Mandy. Let's see if we can get Mandy back in. I don't know what's happening with my shirt here as well.
don't worry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. You did froze on my screen, and I was like, "Oh no, it looks like we're losing you again." And then you just you just disappeared. I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of lost."
It's we're having a hurricane in parts of Nicaragua, so like where I am is fine right now, but I don't know if it's affecting like all of the
Prob
stuff.
Probably, yeah. It's probably like the side effects of these things. But the last I heard was you're saying you used to come and visit Costa Rica and so forth, and then it was part of your healing journey, played a big part as well. Uh, so yeah, probably just take us through from there because I think I
Yeah,
cut
so I
out
spent a
after that.
lot of time in Costa Rica, like while I was going through my recovery. So I just like I fell in love with the place through that, and just because I've always wanted to live on the beach. And then I came back to Canada and I was home for a year, and I just realized like that was not who I was anymore. Like I wanted to live in the sunshine by the ocean. And I just set myself up so that I could basically take my current career and just do it from there long term. And yeah, so now I'm doing that. And I got to bounce over to Nicaragua, so I'll be over here for a little bit. And that's what I mean by when I say like you really can do anything you want. Like we have the power to create what it is we want out of life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that 9 to 5. For some people, it does. For some, like, like whatever it is we desire, we have that power to make happen. And it's not like everything for me happened overnight, baby steps, right? But when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew I had a vision, but my vision had to begin with me healing from my traumas and from my addiction, and then building up from there.
That's I love that actually, and you mentioning that to take the baby steps for people who are thinking to start something new, become an entrepreneur, for example, or they just had enough of their routine life in terms of there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5 for a lot of people, but then there are some people who don't fit that criteria. They're just doing it because there's nothing, they don't know any other options. um,
Hmm.
what do you suggest to them in terms of how can they pivot, that, as you said, there's options out there, you are able to fulfill your dreams.
Yeah, so if it's something like they're trying to create a new work style for them, and they have some like vision of what that job may look like just start doing it for short amounts of times on the side, right? Like don't think that you need to start putting in like 7 hours of this and 7 hours of that. Like it's unrealistic. You hear a lot of like grind, 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 and like you shouldn't be sleeping 8 hours if you want to like change your life. Well, we need sleep too. Like, and those things are important. And I think people sometimes drive themselves too thin if they're trying to do these big things too fast, right? Like it's okay if you start your vision and it may take you like 3, 5 years to get there. Like I think it's more important to do it
Mhm.
in a healthy pace than, like stressing out about putting in all these extra hours into it when they have a full-time job, they have a family, they still need a social life, they still need to take care of themselves, right? So just not to put so much pressure on themselves about taking the time to also take care of themselves while they're pursuing their desired lifestyle, whatever that may be, right? Yeah.
I love that actually, and it just reminded me of thinking of maybe achieving whatever that goal is, and then working backwards. Because everybody on the social media and everything, you get promoted of, as you said, grind. You need to work hard, don't sleep, and all that stuff. But if you're looking at all these successful people, yeah, maybe now and then they didn't sleep when there was a crucial time. We all come through that, deadlines and all that stuff. Your own work will require that from you now and then. But yeah, on those times, yeah, you can. But then there are other days where maybe you can just spend an hour, 2 hours max, or 30 minutes if that's what you have, and then build that, whatever you're building, right? And work on that and build it. And as you said, if it takes you 3 years, 3.5 years, so be it. But it will be a perfect launch or perfect thing that you just created, right? It just reminded me of, we didn't know how to run straight away, did we? We first learned how to walk, and then we also learned how to jog, and then we start running, right? You just didn't start running unless a lion or tiger was chasing you, or somebody with a car behind you. Then you probably just started running. But nobody just started running for no reason, right? So if you're like, oh yeah, I want to run. Okay, what do you do when you want to run? You practice, and if you work out for a marathon, for example, you just don't go and do the marathon straight away,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I was just thinking when you mentioned, take those baby steps, build on the side, and don't have to grind all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, we'll have our setbacks and we'll have our moments, but like that's just part of the human experience. And it's just you deal with that. You take your breaks if you need to, and then like just keep on going. Like when I feel like I'm having like too much happen in the morning, like in the day, I'll schedule in to make sure I can meditate at some point during the day just to reset myself and keep going. So finding the tools, the healthy tools that work for you to be able to, push yourself a little further, or keep going, or complete all of the tasks that you want to. But yeah, like there are a lot of healthy ways to be able to do a lot in one day.
Which is actually great because how would you recommend someone to like get their a good routine, or let's say if not a routine, or a good day, to set themselves up for a good day? Obviously there's various ways, but you mentioned them to find what works for them. How can one find what works for them?
I believe it's just about like trying stuff. So like I have a morning routine, I have a bunch of things that I like to do in the morning, and sometimes I do them all, sometimes I do some of them, but like a simple thing is drinking water first when I wake up. Like I do a meditation in bed before I like actually like wake up. I do gratitude journaling. I like to exercise. I really do the things to help get my mind and my body in the best possible like space in order to have like a good day, right? So obviously there's some days where I don't do them all, but I do have like a list of things that I will do. Like I listen to podcasts while I get ready on things I want to learn. So then I'm like, I'm still keeping my mind active in the mornings while I'm like getting ready. So, obviously expanding your mind and learning will keep you sharp. So I do all these different types of things to keep myself feeling healthy, feeling good, expanding my mind. But there's, people will find the mix that works for them. Like just start doing things. Some people prefer doing the yoga, maybe a tapping in the morning. Yeah, there's lots. I would say just start trying stuff. Like start researching what other successful people do, or not even like, and just happy people. What do happy people do when they get up? I bet you they don't look at the news.
That is true. Yeah, definitely not looking at the news or your phone for that as well, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but and I love the fact that you said, yeah, try things, because what works for somebody else might not work for you, or you might create something for yourself because you have all these tools uh, with you now that you've tried, and you're like, okay, this works, this doesn't, so not doing this, and get a bunch of them together, and then that becomes, some people like to call it ritual, some people like to call it routine. So whichever that
Mhm.
is, and you create that, and what helps with that is your mind actually likes pattern. It works with patterns, and if you're doing something quite often, which then creates the habit, it's just because your mind is used to it now, and it knows that you're going to do this, you're going to do that after this, you're going to do after that this. And once you start that, it becomes easier. At the beginning, yes, you're teaching your mind, no, I am doing this now, no, I am doing this now. So after once it's learned that this is your pattern, it
Yeah,
makes it
it
easy.
just becomes a lifestyle, right? Like it's not it's not, it's just second nature. Instead of doing maybe that unhealthy thing in the morning or doing nothing to like get
Mm.
yourself really going. Now you've created this new lifestyle that is just, it's just who you are now, right? So mhm.
Exactly. You mentioned that you listen to podcasts as well. Is there any particular one that you would like to recommend the audience who are listening to us today, that inspires you and might inspire them as well?
Yeah, well, recently I've been listening to Sahara Rose and the Manifestation Babes. So it's about mindset. Manifestation Babes a lot about around money mindset and abundance, and then Sahara Rose is a lot about like spirituality and finding your dharma and like being like that kind of stuff. So they're both very, very. I find them very interesting. Lots of different things talked about on there. So.
Ah, interesting. So I'm sure the audience and I myself probably check it out and see what was quite interested in the both of them, actually, because we both need both. We need to understand how money works, and how can we be in abundance of it.
Hmm.
It's because you're programmed from child that there's lack of it. By no, it's I don't know if it's an accidental thing, but it is something they didn't mean worse for me, especially parents, for example, when they say, oh, do you think money grows on tree? So you're already putting a seed in your mind by saying, oh, there's lack of money, there's not enough to go around. But I know there is
Hmm.
enough to go around, but yeah, it doesn't grow on trees, obviously. Yeah. But but what does that give you when you're a kid thinking, oh, we don't have enough money, right? Okay, so no, or you get in restrictions, and therefore you have unhealthy habits. Once you come into money of your own, you don't know what to do with it because you've not been conditioned or taught properly of how this should work now. And then suddenly you have all this money that's coming to you, and all you know is, yep, pay bills, do this, do that, what everybody else been doing, right? And apart from that, you can't do anything. So it's more about, what I find is you need to know those um, financial education, in terms of knowing what to do with this money that is coming to you, how to get the money to work for you, and so forth. Right? Is that something you're picking up as well on your podcast there?
Yes, it's that, and then also it's a lot about like the money mindset in the sense of like how you perceive money to just be energy
Mm,
exchange, and then also that like to view the world as abundant, like right, like it's not only about having abundance in cash, but like if you think about it, like you look outside at the trees, well, there's an abundance of leaves and trees everywhere, so that's helping us with breathing and living and stuff, right? So
mm,
right there, that's abundance, right? And even being able to look at the gift of money in more than just the sense of it's been given you, like if someone pays for your lunch, if somebody buys you a gift, if say you needed to buy a new vacuum, but then your friend had an extra and gave it to you, like that's all money exchange in a sense, and just to realize that you're abundant in more than just like a tangible, like here's $10,000, right? So just looking at your abundance in a different form rather than just the money exchange as well. So yeah, there's lots of things.
Yeah, I love that actually. Yeah, in that sense, because a lot of people are challenged with that kind of situation in terms of, we don't accept things when they're coming to us. And you mentioned the examples of, yeah, somebody might have two vacuum cleaners and they might just gift you one or give it to you, right? Oh, here you are. And there are some people who might not take it, or like, no, that's fine. I'll buy one by the end of the month or something, and I'll buy one. But no, here's one coming to you. And how I look at those things as well, and this is something that you just reminded me of, is how my relationship with the money and abundance side of things is. It's I just think of it as I'm just a conduit of whoever the money belongs to will go to it. So whatever I receive, and then I forward it out to whoever needs it. Whatever is left behind for me is what I will work with. And yeah, if somebody is paying for my lunch or dinner or coffee, if we are out and about, I don't say no. It's an offer. Why should I refuse? It's again
Mm-hmm.
the universe also spinning that around, saying, okay, you've been giving and paying things. Now here's your time to take and receive some. And if you receive, you just say thank you to the person who's paying for it. It's their chance to be kind to you now if you've been kind to them. So it's an exchange already happening, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel if anyone is offering you a gift of some sort, you're like, yeah, like just take it. If you're saying no to people trying to give, then you're telling the universe like you don't feel you deserve these things, and then you won't, and I think everyone deserves to give and receive, right? Like so.
Definitely, definitely. So I love this journey and story so far that you're sharing. So what would you suggest for people to actually pay attention to when they've pivoted and started their journey, to help them understand? Obviously, there will be lots of times where there will be lots of low moments, then high moments, right? At the beginning of the journey, it's a bit like a roller coaster ride, right? So you're gonna feel the roller coaster going down more than coming up. The coming up will be just you recovering and think, oh, thank God I'm coming up. But then you'll be going down again, right? So what would you recommend for people to watch out for those things? And if they do have those moments, how can they think of the next up that they're gonna get?
I think really it's important to have like a good community. So, you may have to find new friends, like if this is a lifestyle you're leaving, but we do have many support groups, or there's things on Facebook, groups that people don't, if they don't want to go to in person, you can find ones online, but really leaning on people and not being afraid to show this vulnerable moments to someone you trust. For me, journaling about what I was going through really helped because I was releasing it in some way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to really know that this will end, and the gift that you will receive after you go through all these very much lows and painful moments is just beautiful. I am so happy and I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so grateful that I pushed myself and did this because, like I said earlier, I feel completely different, but in the best way. Obviously I still get sad and I still have upsetting times, but everything even about those moments feel different because I'm more clear. I'm not having this add-on of low from the drugs or and stuff. So even just the way I can move through those emotions is different and more healthy, and they don't last as long. And it's a great gift to give to yourself, to be able to just feel better all around. Even like I said, even in my lower moments, I feel better than I did in those lower moments. So that is something that's pretty cool to me too, right? So
Yeah.
recognizing that you don't have to suffer as much when you're sad, so.
I love this actually, and yeah, we all get that sad, you moments there where you will be sad, or down, But what I heard from that was, even though you're having that sad moment, it's a case of, right, okay, what am I learning from this now, or why, or working out, okay, what have I learned from this moment, or what can I now do different for this moment to not repeat again in the future, right? Is something that you worked upon.
Yeah, so but like just in general, like the way the sadness comes, or the way these like frustrated feelings comes, like it's not as intense as it used to be because I have a healthier life, right? So
Mm.
um it just feels different because it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as expanded because I'm adding on like the
Mm.
effects from the drugs and like, the not sleeping for the days or whatever, right? So yeah.
Ah,
So it's
okay,
something
okay.
for people to look forward to, right? Like understanding that like even though we'll have these low emotions, like they aren't as intense, I should say. That's a good word. They aren't as intense as when I was using because
Mm.
I'm healthier, right? And so yeah, so it's very neat.
I love that actually. That's good expansion on that, or and it's so. What would you suggest to now people, who or yourself, that you would like to share a moment that you came across and you were like, okay, um, this moment is what you are working for. Obviously, that's not the end goal, but that moment kind of cemented it. You're like, okay, yeah, I see it now happening, and how long it took you to realize that as well. Obviously, it will be different for everybody, what that moment
Hmm.
is and what that is. But how was it for you to just share that, if you can?
Yeah, so basically what happened, like the first year, like I mentioned, there was a lot of challenges, painful moments, like really looking within. Like I went, I did a lot of healing in that year, like really just dived in. But then what happened, it was almost like a switch. Like after that year mark, like all of a sudden things kind of just became lighter and more clear. And it was like, this is the feeling. Like this is what I want. This is what I knew I could accomplish. Right. And
Mhm.
like I feel the farther and farther away I get from that lifestyle, the lighter and lighter I get because I keep just when something comes up, I don't just, go out and party and like forget about the sadness, forget about whatever just happened. Like I deal with my emotions in a very healthy way. So I'm not just piling things on. And so instead of it piling on throughout the years, I just deal with it right then and
Mhm.
release it. I work through it. I do what it is I need to do depending on what it is I'm dealing with. So I do like energy work, journaling, meditating, talking it through with a friend, whatever it is. And I just handle it in that moment. So I just stay feeling light and clear. And it's very cool. I love it. Like I can't ever imagine going back like that person that I used to be just is in the past. And
Mhm.
yeah, I love the new version of myself. Like,
That's an amazing share there. Thank you very much. And I can hear, and obviously I can see as well now. That you're the voice as well. Such an amazing person that you are now, and there's more to come for you because you're still on that journey, and you're developing and regenerating yourself. It's still there. It's an amazing journey you're on. Um, it's what I wanted to now, we'll be wrapping this up shortly as well. So I wanted to say, thank you very much for coming on, for Tuesday Talks, and sharing this amazing journey with everybody here. And it's definitely, needed to inspire others who might be on a similar journey, or looking to pivot and change, and are just not doing so. So as we wrap this up, what would you like to say to everybody, as your final words of wrapping?
I just really want people to understand how, like I said this already, but like how much power we have as individuals, right? Like I think it's so important that we know, like we understand that we can create whatever life we desire, and not saying that it's going to be super easy at first, because it won't be, but that if you want something, like, just take the steps to get it. Like, start by believing in yourself. And like, I believe that we all can do it. So I just want people to know that they can have whatever life they want. And, you know, it doesn't matter how long they have been one way, we can create whatever life we want. Like, I don't believe we are here to suffer. You know, obviously we're going to have our challenges and feel every emotion, the human experience, that's part of it. But we are creators, and we can create whatever it is, what we feel is our desired life.
That's a wonderful share for the wrap. I think it's beautifully said there. I couldn't have not put anything better there now. That's amazing. Thank you very much for your time and this amazing share, Mandy. For everybody else who's been watching us on Instagram Live throughout the beginning, if you had any inspirational moment or a spark that whilst you were listening to our conversation, it's our duty now to share this episode with whomever that's popped in your mind or you're thinking of, because we shouldn't keep that spark within us. We need to now light and let someone else's spark as well, because all we need is that spark to turn on that switch, turn on that light, or someone to have that spark moment and take that action that they need to take. So share this episode if you found it inspiring. Tag someone on the post if you will. But Mandy, thank you very much for your time and sharing such an amazing journey. If people wanted to reach out to you, they can do so by Instagram and other places.
Yeah, so it's Mandy Alexis. Motivation is my handle for Facebook and Instagram. And if people want to check out some of the art that I've created, I have a website. It's mandyalexismotivation.ca. So you can go see if anything there sparks your motivation, and go from there. Yeah.
Amazing. That's a great. I recommend everybody to check out the artwork as well, which I will do myself as well. Is it on your bio as well, or
Yeah, you can get to it through my bio. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So everybody, we should if you've found this conversation inspiring, go follow Mandy definitely, and you know you can reach out to her to find out what Mandy can help you with as well. Thank you very much, Mandy, and thank you very much everybody else. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.